Welcome. You're now tuned into Only Game, place where you get only game all the time. I'm OG Grip. Today we're going to be talking about something that's real near and dear to my heart. Procrastination, or the lack thereof. When you're supposed to do something, when something's on your heart and you know that you got to just stick with it even though you don't really want to, and then you don't, the things that happen from that, and also the things that happen when you actually do follow through and stick with the plan all the way through. So stay tuned. I'm OG Grip. This is Only Game. Welcome.
Amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is. I can teach you how to stack a honey early in the morning. Them niggas talking shit, ain't got nothing.
All right, let's get into it. I know it's early on in the week. You still got 2-3 days left to deal with your boss, your headaches, your kids. You really can't take no break if you ain't got no babysitter, and you probably don't have a babysitter because your babysitter probably working throughout the week. So you don't want to do everything that you know you have to do. It's hump day. You're trying to get over that hump. Every time I think of hump day, I realize more now that I'm older why the hell they call it hump day, because you got to actually push through. And I know this is the time that it's kind of like, forget it. So if you done tuned into this video, pat yourself on the back. You know what I'm saying? Give yourself a little pat on the back. Give yourself a congratulations. Because if this video says anything about motivating and pushing through, that might be the last thing that you want to hear right now. Because you're thinking, I'm going to call in tomorrow. I'm going to call in day after tomorrow. Tonight I'm just going to go out and kick it. Forget it. But you persevered. You stuck through it. You watching me. You looking for a little bit extra motivation in order to push through the day. I'm here to help provide that. And I'm here to also tell you what's going to happen if you don't push through today. Right? So let's go into it. First of all, I've been a victim of it. This is one of my the hardest fights is procrastination, because I feel like I can get it done. I feel like I'm better when the pressure's on. A lot of you probably feel the same way. So this is one of the hardest things for me to get over in life is putting stuff off. There's always something you could be doing right now, especially when it comes to working out, especially when it comes to eating right, especially when it comes to getting up and potty training your kid. You can tell I'm going through that right now, right? It's real. It's really real. So I know how hard it is to say, you know what? I could be doing this and I'd rather be doing this, but I need to be doing this. Let me tell you about a couple times. One time that I didn't do what I probably should have done, and not even probably, when I didn't do what I should have done. And I'm gonna tell you the outcome of that, and then my opinion on what it could have been. And then I'm gonna tell you about a time, because there's been a few on both sides, a time that I did do what I should have done and what the outcome was in regards to that. We're gonna start off with the bad part first. Let's go into what I didn't do, all right? I'm going through my mental Rolodex so I can pick a time that's really going to hopefully inspire y'all. So let's go into it. This time that I could have been on a song with this popular down south artist. I'm not going to say their name. The song never happened. I'm not going to say their name. But I had a situation where I was working with this producer who's in the industry. He's done a couple of joints for a few big East Coast cats and a couple other West Coast, and obviously some down south cats. So anyway, I had paid this cat for some beats. I'm not gonna say his name either. I had paid him for some beats, and I get the music from him. And I had been, network with him and just chopping it up with him, trying to build a rapport and build a relationship. Because as we all know, relationships are worth way more than money, right? So my initial payment and our meeting and our conversation, our meeting and our conversation all sparked up from my initial payment to acquire him for some business. So, but nevertheless, we ended up talking, chopping it up, kind of vibing with each other. So he calls me randomly one day and he's like, yo, I got this record that you can get on. And he sends me this snippet, right? And the snippet has this artist on there. And there's a couple other artists that were supposed to be on the record as well. So I'm like, all right, cool, bet. He's like, so get it done as soon as possible. At the time, I didn't have a studio at home or anything like that. This is part of the reason the studio ended up being at home, but we'll get into that. So at the time I didn't have one, so I hit my homeboy up, my engineer up, and we met up later. It was like a day or two later we met up actually because he was busy. Another reason I got the studio, because he was busy. So we met up a day or two later, and once we met up, we went to the studio. When we got to the studio, he forgot the key or lost the key. So we couldn't get in the studio. So now I'm calling dude, and you know how we transfer. So you have X amount of days to download whatever the person has sent you, right? And I never downloaded it. I had it, I just kind of got it. And it was like, all right, cool. If I need it, I can hit him up. Fast forward a little bit. We get to the studio, we don't have the keys. We can't record that. I can't record that day, right? So I go home, I'm thinking it's really no big deal. We'll get in there tomorrow. You know what I mean? Tomorrow comes, I hit the guy up because the link had expired. Because mind you, it had been like 3-4 days by this time. I hit him up, the link had expired. I call him, I'm like, hey man, I need you to resend that joint. His exact reply was, huh? Oh man, for real? Damn. And then he hung up the phone. I ain't talked to Buddy since. That was an opportunity wasted. That was an opportunity thrown away. That was an opportunity that I messed up that could have led to something. And in my opinion, if nothing else, it would have led to me building a relationship with another artist that has a lot of stature, a lot of recognition in the game, a lot of hits, you know what I mean, and a lot of knowledge that I could have learned from. So I really messed that opportunity up just by procrastinating and feeling like, oh, it's cool, I can get it done whenever. You know what I'm saying? And that wasn't even really my thought. It was just more so like putting it off because this happened or that happened and using the excuse as opposed to calling up another engineer that I know, because I know many engineers, and taking my ass over there and getting the record done. So because I didn't do that, I missed out and I messed up. Story one. All right, so y'all heard about, you know, my big up, right? See how I just muted myself? That's a skill I learned while being a rapper, right? Because I'm a rapper, I learned how to mute myself when I want to curse. So I can be like, man, all this, you know what I'm saying? And it sounds like somebody edited me out in the engineering room. But I just did that myself. Anyway, y'all, let's hear about a time that I didn't mess up. And then, you know, I don't have to give y'all my opinion on what happened, because I can give y'all what actually happened, because I actually followed through, right? So this was probably 2015, it was 2015. And I got a partner. I had a partner, he passed away. Rest in peace, you know what I'm saying? Big Chip, you know what I'm saying? Rest in peace. But I met Chip, quick little story into Chip, you know. I met Chip because my stuff was up, and this all goes into this story that I'm telling y'all. I met Chip because I had posters up in a barbershop, right? And I had these posters up, and every barber in the barbershop had my poster up in their station, which the Chip, that was unusual for everybody to be posting the same person, and that person is not a major celebrity, right? So he started asking questions about me and inquiring about me. A guy, an acquaintance of mine, told him that he, you know, had a number to get up with me or whatever. Chip had him call me. I'm going through the story kind of fast, okay? But just keep up with me. You know what I'm saying? Listen a little. And my guy tells him, my acquaintance tells him, I know how to get up with him. He shoots me a text or a call. I didn't get the call. I missed the call. Pay attention to that. But then he shoots me a text. So the missed call could have been a missed opportunity, right? Keep that in mind too. But he shoots me a text. I respond to the text. He tells me some guy wants to chop it up with me. Usually I don't be chopping it up with a lot of people I don't know. I kind of keep to myself, right? But he like, you know, dude's a promoter. He wants to holler at you, whatever. So I hit Chip up. When I hit Chip up, Chip tries to get me to pay to get on the show. I tell Chip I don't pay to get on the shows, and it's the problem with Minnesota, because at the time that's where I was at. And, you know, shout out Minnesota and everybody that I love in Minnesota, right? So he tells me, I tell him, this is the problem with people in Minnesota. You're always trying to get people to pay to do something so y'all can pay your artists instead of just paying the artist, because that artist is putting in just as much as work, you know, or at least attempting to put in as much work as one of these major artists that y'all paying to come down, right? And you're also using my services at the same time in whatever fan base I may have to fill up your seats. All right. So Chip likes my game. He likes how I'm speaking. You know what I'm saying? He likes my mind. Chip tells me by the end of the conversation, listen, whatever show I bring down here, I'm going to put you on this show. Any show I bring down here, I'm going to put you on. You ain't got to pay, you know what I'm saying, nothing. You and one of your guys or whatever. Boom. That happens. After that happens, a couple months go by, Chip starts putting me on every one of the shows, though, throughout this couple months. He calls me one day and he's like, yo, man, I want to get artists down here, maybe a little bit of an older artist that wants that you know, I can get a good price, but that's going to sell out. Instantly, I tell him Face. I say, go get Face. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Brad. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, go get Face. He like, all right, bet, I'm gonna see what's up. He calls me like a day or two later, like I got up with him, we making it happen. I'm like, bet, congratulations, right? Cause I ain't never been no hater. I'm like, bet, congratulations. He like, cool, but check this. You don't wanna do no record with him? I was like, shit, see what he want. So he turns around, hollers at Face. Face gives him a number, none of y'all business. Face gives him a number, he gives me the number. I'm like, for real? He like, yeah. I'm like, bet it up. So I tell him, I schedule the studio time, we put the whole little thing together. Everything is supposed to happen at a certain time, or when he comes up here for the show, which was end of 2015, around Christmas time. He comes out, he sells out the show. I perform, I opened up that show as, you know, part of our whatever, I don't want to say agreement, because it was just him kind of telling me this is what he was going to do, and he kept his word, right? So I perform. At the end of the show, Face is like, man, we got to go. I got studio time booked and everything. He's like, yeah, but we got to go. We got to be in this place. We got to be in that place, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, man, let's just get this record done. He's like, yeah, you know, it's all good, but, you know, I can get it done later. But, you know, we got to go. I got to be in Arizona. We got to be in Arizona tomorrow or something like that. I'm like, all right, check it. I'll fly out of Arizona. Let's just finish the record. He like, bro, I got to be a bunch of other places after that, this, that, and the third. He's giving me every reason as to why he can't do this record tonight. And in my mind, I'm thinking, hell, this fucked up, right? I'm like, this is all messed up. So I'm getting hot about it. And usually in this situation, I'll do something different than what I did, just because I let my attitude or my emotions, you know, I've allowed them to get the best of me at times in life, as I'm sure we all have, right? So in this moment, I'm like, oh man. So his manager taps me and he's like, man, just send it to me. I'll make sure he gets it done. So in that moment, normally I would walk away. Normally I would be like, all right, whatever, we'll forget it. You know what I'm saying? And I would agree to that, you know, because it was like, I'm tired of going back and forth. This time I was like, man, listen, if we ain't gonna be able to do the record together, then I don't want to do it, right? Because the whole idea is to be able to sit with the legend and do the record and learn from him and chop it up with him. You know what I mean? Face hears me say this, he kind of stops, well, because we're walking at this time. He hears me say this, he stops, he looks at Rico, and he taps him. And he's like, listen, so Rico's like, well, when can you get out to Houston? I said, I can be to Houston tonight. You know what I'm saying? He was like, we got to go to Arizona. I was like, yeah, I can be in Arizona tonight. He's like, nah, man, after the holidays. Let's just do it after the holidays. But don't hit me up on like January 1st or nothing. I was like, all right, cool. So he gives me his number. Says we'll schedule something after the holidays, you know, beginning of the new year. I hit him up, not on the 1st, but I did hit his ass up on the 3rd, right? So when I hit his ass up on the 3rd, he was like, what you doing on the 7th? I was like, I'm going to be wherever y'all need me to be on the 7th. He told me to come down to Houston. I flew down to Houston on the 7th. We did the record. I missed 2 flights that day, right? I missed 2 flights. This is how lower self energy be working, right? I missed 2 flights that day. And when I missed them 2 flights, I was like, oh my goodness, this is gonna be over, but I stayed positive. And me staying positive, I still made it out there. The people there worked some stuff out, they worked some magic to get me out there. Like 2 hours after I should have been out there, 2 or 3 hours after I should have been out there. I get out there, I link up with him, he like, man, you a little late, ain't you? You know what I'm saying? He pops up out of nowhere, first of all. I link up with him, he like, you a little late, ain't you? But he's already playing the beat, I had already sent him the beat. He's banging the beat in the studio. I met a couple good partners of mine that day too. Shout out Steve-O, you know what I'm saying? Black Car. So he's playing the beat, they banging the beat or whatever. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. I'm in here with the legend. You know what I'm saying? His Face has always been an idol of mine, someone I really truly respect his music and now him as a person, because fast forward a little bit into the story, we do the record, it gets done. I'm leaving town like 2 days later. I'm in Dallas in a layover flight, which I hate. I'm in Dallas in a layover flight to catch a layover, rather. And Face calls me and was like, yo, we about to go on tour. When he hits me up like, we about to go on tour, he's like, we rehearsing right now. You should come to this rehearsal. I'm like, man, I'm in Dallas. He's like, turn around. I was like, man, I got other stuff to handle back at the crib. So he's like, all right, bet. But that was the first time he ever called me. I fly back to Minnesota. You know what I mean? I continue doing what I'm doing. Like 2 weeks after that, he hits me up and he offers me the opportunity to go on tour with him, 44 city tour. I'm like I said yes. The first thing I said was yes, and then I told him, let me pray about it, and I'll hit you back tomorrow to make sure that my yes is yes. That's what I did. Long story short, we ended up linking up, going on this tour, 44 days. You know what I mean? We ended up bonding like, you know what I'm saying, big brother, little brother, or cousins, or whatever you want to look at it as. We ended up bonding though and building a good rapport and a good relationship. You know what I'm saying? That turned into a lot more business together, turned into a lot more good opportunities, a lot of education. You know what I mean? As someone that's been through everything that I can call about certain things, and they can always drop game on me, which he always does. So shout out to the homie, you know what I'm saying, the big homie, Face Smile. But the lesson in that, to go back to what we're on, the lesson in that is persistence. Being persistent, avoiding letting your energy change, avoiding letting your emotional state or your thoughts change, avoiding quitting because you have a hurdle that just popped up in front of you when you thought this was just going to be a 40-yard dash. All of a sudden it turned to a hurdle race. You know what I'm saying? Those type of things will happen on your journey. And when they happen, as long as you're staying consistent and staying persistent and pushing through, right? As long as you're doing that, you're always going to come out on top. You might not get the exact outcome that you're looking for, but you're going to get one that's better. Because, they say, and I don't know how spiritual you are, but they say the Creator don't close the door without opening the window, right? And then what you have in mind for yourself is nowhere near compared to what the Creator has for you. So that's lesson 2, all right? Hopefully that helps motivate you guys and puts you in a space where you understand that everything just don't go smooth out here. It's life. This is what it is, you know what I mean? But as long as you stay grinding, as long as you push through this Wednesday and you're up and at 'em and you understanding that, shoot, the weekend is going to always come around, right? But you ain't always going to have this opportunity that you have and always be in this mental space or always be in this healthy space to do the things that you need to do in order to make sure that your family's future legacy is great, right? So take advantage today, okay? OG, take that with you.
I can teach you how to stack a honey.